Peggle. Hello and welcome to another episode of Ferret64 with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferret64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. I appreciate you listening and or watching on the YouTube version and Spotify. There's video on Spotify now as well. If you want to leave a rating or review on Spotify or a like on YouTube, I would very much appreciate that. It does warm my heart. We got a pretty loaded episode with the news today. Some things that I got to talk about that I've been playing. And, of course, some games that are coming soon. But first, just let me ask if you have seen the 2019 Top 10 Video Games from 2019 Redux. That video came out last week now or 2 weeks ago now. And if you haven't watched it yet, it's a fresh take on the 2019 Top 10 games from myself. Some things changed. If you want to check that out, I'd appreciate that. I am working on the 2018 Redux now. I am working on that now, so it should be out in the coming week. Probably. All right, let's go ahead and start this whole thing off with what's in the news. Okay, up first is, of course, Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed to 2026. Originally, it was, well, not originally, but it was supposed to release in fall of 2025, and now it's coming in May. So we actually do have a release date now, which is more than we had before. So they have said that the game will come out May 26, 2026, which is about a year. I mean, you know, at the end of the month, it'll be about a year before the game comes out, quote unquote. We'll see if there's any more delays. I don't think this surprised anyone. I think that because we've heard so little about the game, seen so little about the game since, even like, you know, even since it's like reveal, you know what I'm saying, or reveal, I should say. I wasn't expecting to get the game in fall. I was maybe hopeful that the game would come in fall, but you know, at this point, it's like you know, anyone who's like making a stink about it, you know, it's like it doesn't really. I mean, does it really matter? It doesn't really matter. And the other nice thing is that now we can just kind of focus on the games that are coming out this year, and we can, you know, have fun with those games without worrying about GTA 6 coming in and taking over everyone's lives. Also, we have a console launch coming out this year as well, which is just like, it's just GTA 6, a console launch, and all these great games that came out already and are going to come out later in the year. It's just a very packed schedule. It's a very packed schedule. So now that we know and developers know when it's officially coming out, or coming out in quotation marks, we'll be able to plan our lives around that next May 2026. As for what to expect coming out, I think we're going to see something either at the Summer Games Fest or around that time in summer. I think we'll see like maybe like a new reveal or a new preview for the game. Maybe even more towards like the Christmas time, winter-ish. We'll see like a big gameplay, detail and whatever. Maybe they'll do some events in Grand Theft Auto Online to get people hyped for. Well, I mean, everyone's already hyped for it, but you know, start to get the ball rolling in that sense as well. Other than that, nothing else to say other than this was Rockstar's official statement. So after saying that they were going to release the game May 26, or they're planning to release the game May 26, they said, "We are very sorry that this is later than you expected. The interest and excitement surrounding a new Grand Theft Auto has been truly humbling for our entire team. We want to thank you for your support and your patience as we work to finish the game. With every game we have released, the goal has always been to try and exceed your expectations, and Grand Theft Auto 6 is no expectation. We hope that, or no exception, I'm sorry, no exception. We hope you understand that we need this extra time to deliver at the level of quality you expect and deserve. We look forward to sharing more information with you soon." So, yeah, I mean, like I said, maybe around summertime we'll get like another reveal for the game, maybe some actual gameplay going on. That's not just like a cutscene or maybe some rendered stuff. And Hopefully it'll blow our minds. Maybe they'll show us the map. Maybe they'll show us what they're planning on doing with the story a little bit more and the characters that you can expect to meet. I think a map reveal would be huge, and if they save that for like the Summer Games Fest or around that time, I think that would also be massive, absolutely massive. So, Grand Theft Auto 6 coming next year, May 26th, and we'll see if that date sticks. I'm a poet, don't I know it? Also in the news, Genki, who, if you don't recall, leaked a lot of stuff about the Switch 2 before it launched or before it was revealed officially by Nintendo. They are an accessory maker who they do have quality accessories. I've never been disappointed with a Genki product from what I've purchased. But they were the ones who showed a entire like 3D render of the console and the dock. They already had like those little mocked up Switch 2s, like 3D printed Switch 2s that they had that they even like installed like the magnet system into it. However, they knew that was going to work. But they have been sued by Nintendo, which is like not a big shocker at all. I think did I not predict this back when I originally talked about the Switch leaks? I probably did. I hope that I did. Fingers crossed. But essentially, Genki is being taken to court by Nintendo because Nintendo is claiming that they demoed and promoted unauthorized purported mock-ups and renderings of the Nintendo Switch 2 at the CES event in 2025. Was it 2025? It wasn't that long ago. Furthermore, in the lawsuit, they said Genki presented at least 2 unauthorized 3D printed mock-ups of the Nintendo Switch 2 to reporters. Genki boasted its allegedly early access to the unreleased console and allowed guests to hold and measure the mock-ups. At Genki's CES booth, Genki CEO Edward Tsai personally showed off the 3D printed mock-ups and stated to different reporters that Genki had access to an authentic Switch 2 on which Genki based the mock-ups, renderings, and 3D printed mock-ups. Genki's representatives, including its CEO, also did multiple media interviews discussing their 8 accessories and purposely confirming specifically highly confidential designs and functionality of the not yet announced Nintendo Switch 2. And then, yeah, obviously it goes on with more description there for that. But, I mean, look, predictable. Absolutely predictable. I like I said, hopefully I predicted it back when Genki originally leaked all this stuff and showed all this stuff off. But the fact that they were boasting about it and the CEOs out there like, look at the Switch 2, everyone. Isn't this fantastic? We are the only ones with this stuff. And, having Nintendo logos on them and stuff like that, like, it definitely, I mean, obviously was going to rub Nintendo the wrong way. And they've probably been building this court case since that entire thing happened. A couple things to point out here are... Nintendo believes that Genki's activities were designed to capitalize on the appropriate the public's anticipation for the release of Nintendo's next generation console. Obviously, that's true. I mean, no doubt there. Genki also used Nintendo's trademarks and trade dress in connection with the marketing, unauthorized third-party access. On information and belief, Genki falsely represented that it had access to an authentic, unreleased model of Nintendo's next generation console. Genki has since stated through representatives that the claims of access were false. Genki's claims of compatibility would be impossible to guarantee without unauthorized, illegal early access to Nintendo Switch 2. Thus, Genki has misled and is misleading the public to its ability to guarantee the compatibility of its products. So, this is another thing, too, that could be really big for Genki that might throw them completely under the bus, is having an illegal console in their possession. Like maybe they got it from, well, this would be really shitty, but maybe they got it from a developer or they were allowed access to it by a developer who had a demo unit or something of the like, or possibly there's always something going on with hacking, so you never know. Maybe someone inside the organization or someone outside the organization fed them data. I mean, obviously these Switch 2 mock-ups and 3D renderings and 3D printed mock-ups of the console, they were pretty much spot on. And we've seen a couple of them. There's a video by Sick Cooper on YouTube who someone brought a fake Switch 2 mock-up, which was almost perfectly rendered, to his shop to sell it, and he bought it for like, I don't know, like $100 or something like that. And it's just kind of crazy that like these dimensions were leaked online, all this stuff was leaked online ahead of it, and people were able to actually hold this fake Switch 2 in their hands, and that's probably what Genki ended up doing. Other than that, I mean, I don't really want to get too far into this because a lot of it is just like the same thing over and over again. Like they're complaining about them doing pre-releases of the mock-ups of the model and rendering and blah 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 blah. So yeah, it's a lot of circle talking. And of course, the story did get picked up by a lot of different news outlets like Push Square and not Push Square, but Nintendo Life and IGN and Kotaku and et cetera, et cetera. So they knew that this was going to blow up. They did this for publicity. All publicity is good publicity, as most people say. And in this case, this publicity might lead them to possibly a bit of financial trouble. Now, this is not a surprising lawsuit, but there is a side story going on here where people are like, well, why does Nintendo need to have financial reparations for this? Why do they need to sue? Why do they need to do all this stuff? It's like, well, technically Nintendo doesn't have to sue, but if you know Nintendo's past and you know what Nintendo has done, just like to the smallest fucking things ever, you knew that this was going to be coming. If they're going to sue Pal World for using spherical objects to catch Pokemon-like creatures in, you know that they're going to sue someone for releasing information, renders, etc., of a highly anticipated console. Now, did this damage the company at all going forward? For Nintendo, I'm talking about. I mean, I don't think it really hampered or damaged the release, but I do think that it did cause Nintendo to have to release something tangible for the audience after all the leaks happened, because it wasn't too long after the Switch 2 stuff was leaked out there that Nintendo was like, okay, we're going to do a Switch reveal video, and they just kind of put it out there. And I personally think that reveal video was supposed to be at the beginning of the direct they did last month. I think that sometime in April when that direct was planned, or was already planned, they were planning on doing the big like, oh, look how look at the cool like graphics, we got the Switch resizing and the screen getting bigger and the controllers widening and the mouse thing going on. I feel like that was supposed to be like the opening video, and they just cut that video from the direct and threw it out there a month or two early. So yeah, this is going to definitely have, I mean, obviously it was going to have some legal ramifications from the get-go. It just took a little bit longer to come to the forefront than I was expecting, of course, but here we go. So Genki, all I can say is good luck. I think you knew what you were doing from the beginning, and you knew that this was a possibility from the beginning, and now I guess we'll see what happens in the near future. Or in the long run, because a lot of court cases take forever to get through the court system, but I digress. EA has confirmed that there are another round of layoffs happening inside the company, and one or more projects have been canceled. This past week, 300 to 400 employees have lost their jobs inside of EA. The most heavily impacted team was Respawn Entertainment, and the team that was laid off was working on some sort of Titanfall extraction shooter, as it is rumored. This Titanfall extraction shooter would have been based more so around the Titanfall brand, but using Apex Legends characters to help tell a story. Respawn Entertainment's Twitter account had a statement put out. They said, "At Respawn, bold ideas, creative risks, and passionate storytelling have always defined who we are. That spirit has carried us through incredible highs and sometimes through difficult changes too. As we sharpen our focus for the future, we've made the decision to step away from 2 early-stage incubation projects and make some targeted team adjustments across Apex Legends and Star Wars Jedi. These decisions aren't easy, and we are deeply grateful to every teammate affected. Their creativity and contributions have helped build Respawn into what it is today. We're offering meaningful support to those impacted, including exploring new opportunities within EA." Yes, the company that's laying you off. Let's explore some different places inside there. Looking ahead, our commitment to player-first experiences remains unchanged. Innovation has always been the core of Respawn's identity, and it continues to drive how we build the future, from evolving live experiences to crafting new worlds and stories. For Apex Legends, that means not just delivering competitive, innovative seasons, but expanding on what Apex can be. While the team will continue to redefine gameplay and bring new ideas to upcoming seasons, we're also investing in what's next for the franchise, exploring bold experiences that push the boundaries of competitive play while staying true to the spirit of competition, creativity, and ingenuity that our community expects. Within the Star Wars universe, we're expected to keep building new stories, with the next chapter of Star Wars Jedi series aiming to raise the bar again for storytelling and gameplay. To everyone at past, present, and future, thank you for making Respawn what it is. We carry your legacy with us into everything we create next. So, I mean, the statement is nice. I'm not saying that it's like a, you know, I'm not saying that it's like a bad statement to put out there, but it's also like, yeah, you know, about 400 people lost their jobs. so it's like, yeah, I mean, even though, yeah, we're also excited to maybe take the next step in Apex Legends if you're a fan of that, or Star Wars Jedi, which a lot of people are fans of. But also, you know, why can't this Titanfall extraction shooter come out? Like, I know that not many people are going to want an extraction shooter, and maybe they decided against, you know, continuing to work on it because of Marathon coming out from PlayStation, or because they've seen what's been happening to live service games. So it's possible that that's why they shut down this entire department for the two projects that they're working on. Maybe both of those were some sort of live service experience. I mean, we'll never really know. But the fact of the matter is that they're also taking members away from Apex Legends, which could mean that they are winding down development on that game. I mean, it's been around for quite some time. Obviously, it came out with pretty high praises, and it did like pretty much take Fortnite. You know, it went the full rounds with them. You know, it was trying to get that top spot, and I think it did crack the top spot for a little while. But obviously, Fortnite, you know, ended up blowing it out of the water. And I'm not sure how the player base is for Apex Legends. I'm sure that's still pretty popular. I mean, I watch these Rage compilations on YouTube sometimes, and you do see a fair amount of Apex Legends clips out there. So there are still people playing it. I'm sure there's people competitively playing it as well. But that's the thing. Like, Respawn, they used to be Infinity Ward, right? They broke off from Infinity Ward, and you all know how good the original like Modern Warfare series was, those original Infinity Ward games for Call of Duty, and then we know how good the movement felt and the shooting felt in Titanfall, and then we also know how good of a full package that Titanfall 2 was. And the fact that they haven't even tried, or maybe they haven't made a concerted effort to make more in the Titanfall universe besides from Apex Legends, which uses the same gun system and movement system, sure, but it's not like a Titanfall game. There's no Titans, there's no fall. Well, I mean, there's a fall, I guess, but there's no Titans. There's no bombastic story mode with fun campaign levels. It's just a battle royale, which is fine for the short term for a lot of Titanfall play, people who are fans of Titanfall, but also like at this time it's been what? I mean, it's been like what? I feel like it's been like 10 or so, almost 10 years since Titanfall 2 came out. And the only thing we've heard about is how, they might be working on a Titanfall game, and now we hear, oh, well, the Titanfall game has been canceled because they've been laying off a bunch of people inside of the studio. As for the Star Wars Jedi game that they're working on, if they're taking members away from that, I don't see that as a good thing. That means that either the team will be crunched, who are still remaining there, or it will take longer for the game to come out. I'm not upset that the game could take longer to come out, but I am more so upset that if they are going to try and push the game to come out as soon as possible, if they start crunching their team members like they did for the original Fallen Order, you're going to get those same issues where the game comes out in a completely broken state, and it still kind of is in that broken state, even though they've released multiple patches and done a PS5 version of the game. So, yeah, it's hard to say what's going to happen now. Hopefully all these people who are laid off find new jobs, but I just don't see that being feasible right now with how the gaming conglomerate as a whole is operating. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, as of right now, 300 to 400 people have been laid off from EA, and a good portion of those came from Respawn, which is no bueno. Hollow Knight Silksong. Hollow Knight Silksong mentioned, folks. Hollow Knight Silksong mentioned. It's going to be playable in Australia in September. Why, you might ask? For the new indie game exhibition at the ACMI Museum in Melbourne, Australia. It'll be available to play on September 18th, 2025. It'll appear as part of the Game Worlds exhibit, which will include displays covering the title's design and artistic direction. In a press release, they said, since Hollow Knight Silksong's initial announcement in 2019, it has been one of the most anticipated indie games on the planet. We are thrilled to celebrate the design of the South Australian-made game as a centerpiece of Game Worlds in September. That comes from Bethan Johnson and Ginny Maxwell, who are the co-curators of the museum. So this comes off of Nintendo mentioning Silksong mentioned in the Nintendo Direct when they revealed all the stuff for the Switch 2, right? They said it was still coming in 2025. The last we heard from Xbox was 2 years ago now from Xbox, where they said it was supposed to come in 2024. Obviously, that's changed. So it's been a while. But this September 18th museum release date, could that mean that the game will already be out by that time, so they are just going to allow it to be playable at this museum? It's hard to say. Will it be coming out in September if they're going to be doing this museum reveal? Maybe they'll release it in the museum, and a lot of people will flock there and give them a lot of business, I suppose, and then they'll release it maybe a week later or a day later or the same day. At this point, we don't know. We have no clue. But what we do know is that the game will be in a playable state. Is it going to be just a demo? Is it going to be the full experience? Is it going to be a timed experience? Is it going to just be playing on a monitor? Will people... I mean, we won't really know until we actually see it at the museum. And I'm sure that plenty of websites will talk about it once that does happen. This does make me think, though, and possibly believe that the game is closer than we all expect. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who expect it to be out by the end of the year, as they've stated in their Nintendo Direct 2025 listing. But I've always been a bit leery of that since, I mean, we haven't even gotten a new official trailer. I mean, I don't even think that gameplay footage that we saw in the Nintendo Direct was new gameplay. I think it was just rehashed gameplay. So it's a big question mark. But will we be seeing Hollow Knight Silksong finally releasing in 2025? Well, folks, this is the Yemmy the Ferret prediction. I believe, yes, by September, we will get our hands on with Silksong, and or the official release date will be announced. Write that down. Clair Obscure Expedition 33 has sold over 1 million copies now, which is kind of crazy, especially with it being on Game Pass at the same time. That is very good, and a big portion of those players are buying the game physically, whether it be on PlayStation or Xbox. They've actually had to reprint the game. They were not expecting to sell as many copies as they did, so right now the game prices are a bit inflated because the first official run of the game is sold out everywhere, Amazon, Best Buy, etc. So they will be putting out more copies of the game. So don't rush and go to an eBay seller and pay exorbitant prices for it. Okay, there is another wave coming soon. They said they're working as fast as they can behind the scenes. Now, the official news, though, is that the president of France has actually commented about the game. So let me just, brush off my French here because I am totally 100% fluent in French. 1 million copies sold, and to date, one of the highest-rated games in history. Yes, it's French. Bravo to Sandfall Interactive and all the creators of Expedition 33. You are a shining example of French audacity and creativity. So it's really cool for them to actually be recognized by the president of France. And there's been other French games before. Like, this is not the first French game, but this is the first one that and obviously the highest rated one from France in a while, from what I remember. So it's cool that they are getting recognition from France in general, and it's also cool that the French president made a statement about it on Instagram. So if you want to check that out, it's at Emmanuel Macron. If you want to follow the French president on Instagram. A lot of people are saying that Clair Obscure Expedition 33 is a Game of the Year frontrunner right now, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. I think that a game like this that's coming from a smaller developer and an area that isn't really known for its video game output, also being released in the same week as the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remaster. I mean, this game has literally just 180'd the video game landscape overnight, beating out a huge release and being the most talked about game since it came out in late April. So, congratulations to them. I'll talk more about the game in a different segment. But finally, for the news, the Louvre. We're still in France. The Louvre says au revoir. Au revoir to the Nintendo 3DS audio guides. Yes, that was an official title from NintendoLife.com. But yes, they are saying goodbye to the 3DS Louvre experience. Now, you can still buy the physical cartridge and digital tour of the Louvre guide, but the official Louvre Museum will no longer be supporting the 3DS tour. So essentially, they used to they were giving out these 3DSs with the software loaded up on it, and you would literally just walk around the museum, and the 3DS would just guide you around the museum, telling you about the various pieces there. You could rent it at the Louvre, and then you would just return it once you were done at the end of it all. I'm guessing that we're going to see a couple of these Louvre-only 3DSs pop up on eBay in the future, so keep an eyeball out for that if you are a diehard collector. But if you just want the Louvre experience, you could just get the 3DS game. I believe it was only released in like the UK and Europe. I'm not sure. I guess I would have to check it out on eBay or whatever. But yeah, this all started in like 2012, 2013. And it's been going on since then, and I guess they're still technically doing it, but they did say that it will be ending soon, and there will be a replacement for it. So I'm guessing that we're not going to have like a Switch 2 tour of the Louvre, right? Like, I feel like that's way, like, the console is bigger, heavier, and more expensive than the 3DS was at the time. So I think that they will do some sort of like maybe iPhone thing or touch, or just some sort of smartphone technology for that if they want to keep this going. Also, I'm not sure how often the 3DS Louvre guide is it's updated. I'm sure that they've added new things to the Louvre, and it's just maybe not been in the 3DS app, or maybe they did update it. It's hard to say. But yeah, you can still buy the software if you want to on eBay. There's over 600 images, 30 hours of audio commentary, and 400 3D reconstructions of museum rooms as part of the software. So, yeah, it was a pretty cool thing. There was even like a dedicated direct to the 3DS Louvre guide, and yeah, it's sad to see it go, but it was bound to happen eventually. Like this is some 3DS has been out of production and even out of like sales for. It was like 3 or 4 years into the Switch 1, so it makes sense that they're finally ending support for this. But like I said, they'll probably keep it around for a little bit longer until the new system is ready to go, and then once that new system is ready to go, then we will not be seeing it anymore. All right, we're going to change things up. We're going to what's coming soon. All right, Borderlands 4 had its state of play, but before that, Borderlands put out on their official Twitter and Blue Sky accounts that the release date has been moved up to September 12th. That's right, you'll be able to crash into Kairos 2 weeks sooner. We're beyond excited to share the new world with you all ahead of schedule. And if that still doesn't feel soon enough, then they announced that the state of play was going to happen. So yes, the state of play happened. And look, say what you want about Randy Pitchford, okay? He lost his USB stick somewhere. I'm sure he'll find it eventually, all right? Is Randy Pitchford a bit of a creep? Yes. Is he weird? Sure. Do I know him personally? No. Do I care that he is the leader of the Borderlands crew? Kind of, okay? With all that being said, the game itself is looking really good, okay? I can't hide my excitement. I am a big fan of Borderlands. Borderlands 3, I felt disappointed in the end, even though it was a good experience all around. Like, for the most part, I think the story just really suffered. The boss design really suffered. And I felt like the gameplay was a bit dated after all was said and done. I was so excited for Borderlands 3 that I got a Borderlands tattoo. That's right. Okay? I've shown it off many times. But this Borderlands 4 gameplay is looking good. Okay, all right. Not only have they revamped the entire movement system, but they've also redone how character builds work, how rarity is, how the UI looks, how the environment interacts with your character, and you can also take parts off of guns and attach them to other guns as well, all on a brand new planet. So it seems like they're going back to a single planet type system where instead of going, like in Borderlands 3, going planet hopping, you'll have a fleshed out planet to explore like Borderlands 1, 2, and like the moon from pre-sequel, which I think is a good idea as well. Bring it back to basics where the game really shined. There's new enemies, there's bigger and badder enemies, there's more loot, and there are 4 new Vault Hunters to try out. They showed off 2 of them. One was like a siren goth girl type character who had like these bat wings come out and she could like boost herself and shoot out orbs at people. And then another guy kind of reminded me of Zero. He had like these swords, these electric swords or what blades come out, and he could rip through the various enemies around him. They also confirmed Claptrap is back. When are we gonna retire Claptrap? I think it's about time. Borderlands 3, he had his good last moment. Okay, we could have left him behind, but of course he's back. His use in Borderlands 2 was great. I thought they did a great job with Claptrap in Borderlands 2. Okay, but we did not need him in Borderlands 4. Okay, I think it's time to leave him in the past. Now they did say that this game takes place 3 or so years after the events of Borderlands 3, so they are keeping with the timeline as expected. I guess we'll see the aftermath of what happened in Borderlands 3. If you don't know, Lilith sacrifices herself to destroy the last twin, who is like gone Super Titan Mega Mode, and the new Siren girl, she was like 16 or whatever in Borderlands 3. I forget her name. Well, anyway, she was like a siren trainee under Ava, who also was unceremoniously killed off in Borderlands 3. So I think they have a lot going on where they need this game to not only be successful but also to keep the fans of the story alive. You know, because if they do stuff in this game that pisses off people even more, I think you're gonna just have outrage on the scale like no other. Like Borderlands 3 was already getting close to that kind of outrage, but if they decide to just go around and just shit on the characters that we know and love in Borderlands 4, yeah, I mean you can add new characters, do some new stuff like you did with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Was that it? Like yeah, just add new characters in there. You know, give us some new stuff to love. That's all I really ask for. So on top of all that, there will be local couch co-op from the get-go, which means that you and a friend could be sitting at a TV together and play side by side from launch. They also said that there will be, I believe that there is going to be cross-gen and cross-platform co-op. I believe. I don't I don't see it written here, but I could just be making that up. I don't know. Um, they also revealed some of the new new areas that you're going to be going through. They also showed off some new the enemies and stuff like that. And also like a new big faction there, as well as like these kind of like, I don't know, zombie type guys. It's hard to exactly describe them without actually watching it. But yeah, I mean, look, I would recommend checking out the state of play for Borderlands 4 on PlayStation's official YouTube channel. I think that Borderlands fans will like what they see. Now, I don't speak for all Borderlands fans. I only speak for myself, but I do think that the series did need a bit of a refresh. Borderlands 4 felt trapped in the past, and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was a good game, but it was really off the wall and not what people are expecting from the series. So now I'm thinking that with the changes to the movement system and how the guns work, the new Vault Hunters being in the game, going back to a bit more, going back to the basics, kind of with a new planet to explore, and hopefully a slew of new characters to fall in love with. I think that we will be back for a good time. So. I expect great things out of this game. Will I be pre-ordering the game? Yes. Do I have to actually say it? I am a big fan of Borderlands. I will be there hopefully for more experiences in the future as well. If they decide to keep up with the series. I mean, right now it is Borderlands gives them a bunch of money, so I don't see them stopping working on Borderlands. But yeah, like I said, I liked what I saw. I thought that it looked good. The graphics. They look good. Like, I'm not gonna say anything about that because they look kind of similar to all the other Borderlands games, but just an updated version of what they already had. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited, but I'm also cautiously optimistic because of how Borderlands 3 ended up burning me. And if you don't know, Borderlands 3 was originally on like my 2019 top 10 list. When it came out, I was super high on it because I think I also had a bit of like, this has to be a good game, because I bought the collector's edition for like 200 and something bucks, and like it was kind of like in totality a bit disappointing in that aspect. But then also once I started to replay the game and go through it again, like the cracks of the game started to show. I made a whole video discussing just how disappointing the boss fights in the game were, and a lot of them were just reused assets, reused regular enemies, just with a big health bar. And I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers that they don't do that in this game, and we go back to what we know and love, with awesome boss fights, excellent loot, and fun shooter looter game mechanics stuff in there. And also give us a good story. Maybe, hey, bring back Lilith and all the other sirens. Okay, let's just do that. Let's start off with that. Start off the game with like, we need to do this thing to revive the lost sirens. You got me back. If you just do that, I'm back. But anyway, that's Borderlands 4. If you want to check out the video, it is on PlayStation's YouTube channel. I'm going to sneeze, but you will not notice it because I will cut the footage. Okay, From Software released a new video about Night Rain, Elden Ring Night Rain. If you want to check it out, it's on Bandai Namco's official YouTube channel. Do you really want me to summarize the video? It's everything we already know. It's literally everything we already know. They did not show off anything new per se. Maybe a new boss was kind of shown in a sizzle reel. Did they show off a new character? I don't even think they showed off a new character in this. I think the new character was shown off in a different thing. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think there's much more to this game than what they've already shown to people, whether it be through that early access alpha thing or whether it be through all the various footage of the game that we've seen. I don't think there's anything more that they can really show off other than new characters. But I think they're saving those characters for when you actually play the game. Maybe you'll unlock them by going through the campaign, the mission mode and beating the mission mode and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm still very excited for the game. It's not like this trailer was boring and who cares anymore. But I just think that this was kind of a all around, just a bit of like a who needed this kind of trailer. I mean, maybe it's just to kind of refresh everyone on the mechanics and stuff like that, making sure that people don't have the wrong expectations going into this, because there might be someone going Elden Ring Night Rain. Oh, so it's Elden Ring again, right? no, it's not Elden Ring again. It's something completely different. I lied to you, and I did not mean to. They did show off some of the other characters in the game. So you had the Guardian, a new character called the Iron Eye, which looks like a archer of the game, a guy named the Raider, who seems to be some sort of a barbarian type character, and another character called the Executor, who might be a character that is kind of like the weak character of the group. You know, one of those characters that you kind of build from the ground up. So I unintentionally lied to you because I forgot about that new section in the footage. But they didn't really show off the new characters too much. I think they showed a little bit of this new like dagger using character, and she looked like quick and fun, possibly. I've always found like archery in the Souls games to be kind of an interesting concept. Like maybe I would do an archery or a bow only playthrough of something, but you also need to like factor on top of that, like, okay, but now you need to like, instead of just leveling yourself up, you also need to buy tons of arrows, or you need to, make sure that your dodging and shooting is on point, because you will get mauled by enemies if you're standing still for too long, or if you don't find the right equipment. So I think it would be kind of interesting to do a bow only playthrough of something like, I think a lot of people do bow only in Demon Souls. I feel like that's a pretty common thing. And then also like Dark Souls 1, there's a lot of I've seen a lot of videos of people doing bow only runs, and it seems to be pretty good. But I haven't tried that myself. But anyway, if you want to check out the video, Elden Ring Night Rain overview trailer, that's available right now. I'm ready to open up a Pokemon pack, my phone has just told me, but I'm going to, just for you guys, I'm going to hold off on doing that and finish the podcast before doing that. I'm not even going to cut. We're talking about Fortnite Galactic Battles cinematic trailer. So Galactic Battle is the new season of Fortnite, introducing a lot of new Star Wars things into the game, even though we already had a lot of Star Wars stuff in there, like Anakin and Obi-Wan, lightsabers. I believe a Stormtrooper was also in there as well. Now they are officially making a new map, new areas on the map, or a new map in general for Star Wars. So you're going to be going to like Hoth and Tatooine, of course, and it looks like there's some things from both the prequels, sequels, and original trilogy, so there's a lot of stuff in there. You'll be able to hijack TIE fighters and pilot X-Wings. You'll be able to train under Emperor Palpatine to shoot lightning out of your hands, unlimited power, and all that crap. From the get-go in the Battle Pass, you will be able to unlock Apprentice Evie, Poe Dameron, Wookiee Team Leader, Emperor Palpatine himself, along with Darth Jar Jar, which sounds pretty interesting, right? Also, throughout the season, there will be planned events with Luke, Leia, and Han Solo, who will be joining the fray on the 8th of May. This all starts, though, on May the 4th, which is tomorrow, the day that I'm recording this. And then the final showdown for the season will be June 7th, and it seems like he'll be going to the Death Star to do that. So the Battle Pass itself will cost 1,000 V-Bucks, which I believe is like $20 or $10 or $20. I'm sure someone else knows more than me. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Fortnite, as you may or may not know. I don't think I'm gonna tune in for this. But it does look pretty cool. I mean, if you're a fan of Star Wars, or still a fan of Star Wars, or maybe you're a new fan of Star Wars, this might tickle your pickle. Give you these different locations and whatever. But for me personally, Star Wars has been a bit of a real mixed bag lately for me, and I don't want to get into it right now. But let's move on. All right, Lost Soul aside, that is still coming soon, but it has been delayed. So originally the game was going to come out on the 30th of May, which was the same day as Night Rain. I almost wonder if they are delaying it specifically for that, just to get it out of the way of that. I'm sure that they're going to do some more, fine-tuning of the game, of course, but the new release date is now August 29th. So it still is coming out this year, but August 29th will be the new the new release date. In a statement, the game director and creator Yang Bing said, "We are truly grateful for the positive response we've received from players all over the world since the announcement of Lost Souls aside. We remain committed to delivering a high-quality game experience to match the standards Ultra Zero Games has set for ourselves. We are going to take some additional time to polish the game." So yeah, August 29th will be the new release date for that. If you want to check out a trailer for that, YouTube on PlayStation Japan and I believe America's YouTube channel, there's a new trailer that just came out. It looks very Final Fantasy coded. So if you want to check that out, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, I think it might vibe with you. Shovel Knight Dig is finally coming to PlayStation this coming month. I believe it's already on the other platforms, but now it's officially coming to PlayStation. This is the roguelite digging game where you essentially just keep going down. It kind of reminded me when I played the game originally. I played it on PC. It kind of reminded me of SteamWorld Dig in a lot of ways, where you could really only dig down and sideways. You had to get like special items to dig up or plan your route to be able to get things above you. So that's obviously was a big selling point for me. I just felt like the roguelite stuff. I mean, look, it's Shovel Knight. I don't mind that there was roguelite stuff in here, but I felt like the game could have just been a really good, fast-paced like Shovel Knight game, a new Shovel Knight experience. And what it was is it was obviously, a roguelite, and when I played it, I was just not digging it, pun intended. But yeah, I mean it's coming soon. You can pre-order it now. I'm pretty sure it's coming May 15th. And yeah, that'll be this. I believe this is the final platform for it to release on. So there you go. Speaking of PlayStation releases, Hypercharge is officially coming to PlayStation as well this coming month. This has also released on other platforms like Steam and Xbox, but now it is officially coming to PlayStation. This is the action figure, toy soldiers inspired tower defense game where you take control of a toy and you shoot army men and other various evil toys coming at you. This will be available to play on May 30th for both PS5 and PS4. It'll feature crossplay with PC and Xbox, with Switch support coming later when it does officially come there. There is a story campaign, but there is also some competitive modes as well, which does help break up the monotony of that tower defense mode. You can play in first person and third person, I'm pretty sure. Personally, when Greedy Waffles and I played this game, it was fun, but the tower defense mechanics were a bit stale. And I don't know if they've updated the game since I've played it or not, but that is one of the reasons why we stopped playing the game, was because we felt like the tower defense stuff was getting a bit boring. Maybe we'll pick it up again, maybe not. Hard to say, but as of right now, you will be able to play this on PlayStation soon, May 30th. The PlayStation Plus Essential Games for May have been announced, and they are Ark Survival Ascended, Balatro, and Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun. I think this is a pretty good month for people who are fans or use PlayStation Plus Essentials. I think these are three pretty big games, pretty decent games. Now, I never played Ark Survival Ascended. I believe that the trailers... Was this the one that had, like, Vin Diesel in the trailers for it, I think? It might not be. I don't know. So I'm not, like, super crazy about that, but I know that there are a lot of people who love Ark, so I'm like, I'm sure it'll be fine for the people who like those kind of games. But for me personally, Balatro, obviously, big contender in this, biggest game on this list, indie game of the year, one of my favorite games from last year, a lot of people's favorite game from last year. A lot of people loved Balatro. It is a huge success. Crazy that it's coming to PlayStation Plus, especially since it's still, I believe it's still on Xbox Game Pass, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty cool. That's like an easy 4.5 out of 5 type game out of 5. And then Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun is a pretty fun and a pretty decent boomer shooter with a pixel artwork style. Kind of, it's obviously very much reminiscent of like Doom and stuff like that back in the day, Quake. So if you want to try that out, I think it's a pretty good boomer shooter. It is a bit boring because it is a lot of the same thing over and over again, but I digress. It's still a fun game. And then finally, for the coming soon section, here are some games leaving Xbox Game Pass in May 2025. All these will be leaving on May 15th, and they are Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, Chance of Sinar, Dune Spice Wars, Haunty, Jurassic World Evolution 2, Little Kitty, Big City, Planet of Lana, and The Big Con. There are a good amount of games on here that I would recommend trying out before they leave this. First up is Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Excellent game by Hazelight Studios, one of their first games. Chances Sonar, a very interesting indie game where you try to decipher a new language, so it can also be kind of challenging. Jurassic World Evolution 2 is another RTS sim kind of game, kind of like a Zoo Tycoon, except with dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park world. Little Kitty Big City. Not the best 3D platformer ever, but you play as a little kitty and you explore this big city and you do lots of different quests and things around there. It's also a bit of a collectathon type game. It's still fun. Planet of Lana. Not my favorite 2D side-scroller platformer, but it's also still very good. I felt like the puzzles in the game started to become a lot better later on, but when the puzzles finally got to a place where I was like, oh, that's really cool, the game ended. But it's still a really good time, great music, great graphics, and a fun story also with that. So those are the games that I would recommend playing before they're gone from Xbox Game Pass on May 15th. And you actually could probably finish most of these games before that happens. Brothers is a pretty short game. Chances Sonar can be a shorter game. Little Kitty Big City and Planet of Lana, both like a day or two play times max. So check those out if you so desire, or if you have Xbox Game Pass. All right? All right. Let's finally move on to what have I been playing this past week. Can you believe it? I've been playing Clair Obscura Expedition 33. Who would have guessed that I would continue playing this game? Just continuing on from my thoughts from last time, when I finished off the podcast last week, I was kind of just getting into that first area and getting more used to the controls and stuff like that. I'm officially in Act 2. I'm pretty much knee deep in Act 2 at this point, and the game has really captured my attention. Will everyone love the turn-based combat? Probably not. But as a person who also doesn't usually vibe with turn-based combat, I feel like this one does it really well. Think of Paper Mario, think of Final Fantasy X and or Lord of the Rings The Third Age. It has a very similar style to those games where each character has an order and you know that order and you go through it. The one big difference about Clair Obscure is the fact that you can dodge and parry attacks of your own accord. Meaning, you kind of have to know the exact timing, or at least a rough estimate of what the timing is, in order to do those two things, block and dodge, right? And counterattack after. In Paper Mario, you can block, and I think you can maybe do some sort of counterattack sometimes, but you know, it's a very wide window for you. In The Third Age and Final Fantasy X, now I don't know Final Fantasy X for sure, but I will speak on the game that I know, which is The Third Age, Lord of the Rings The Third Age. There's a random chance that you'll dodge things and things will miss in that game. There's no way to there are counterattack moves, you have to set them up, but there are counterattack moves and stuff like that, but it's nothing that the player inputs during the battle sequence. So if you're going into Clair Obscura Expedition 33 thinking turn-based game, boring L, maybe try it out, because it is a lot more, and I hate to use this word because everyone's using it, it's a lot more Souls-like than you would expect. It feels very much like, I said this in the Discord, it feels kind of like Lies of P in a way, where even though you have less control of your character, perfect parry timing is there. Dodging is there, and counterattacking is there. Special abilities are there, and also healing flasks and stuff like that are all in the game as well. Now, obviously, there's a lot more going on than just that. There's a revive one, there's a healing one, there's a one that gives you more action points. But for the most part, the Souls-like stuff kind of ends and begins there, where it's like you have your healing flask, you have parrying and dodging and counterattacking. You have special abilities attached to each character, and you rest at these like flags from the past expeditions as checkpoints, and it respawns enemies. That's kind of where it ends. So that's where the similarities for Souls-like ends. But I feel like if you go into the game going, okay, so it's kind of like a Souls-like, quote unquote, so just learning the various patterns of the enemies will give me the leg up. Yes, it will. Yemmy the ferret. Yes, it will. Good point. So throughout the course of the game, I have had trouble learning some patterns and or keeping the patterns consistent. And I think that most people will have the same process as me, where it's like you meet a new enemy, you maybe right away it clicks with you, maybe not. It depends on how quickly the enemy attacks or how varied their attacks are. Especially for bosses, sometimes bosses you can catch on really quickly to what they're doing, but then other times you'll take like 5 or 6 hits in a row and your party will be wiped out and you go, well, guess I gotta do that again. But then you'll gradually learn. It's like any other Souls-like experience where you go after a boss and the first time you do it, you're probably going to get your ass kicked. And if you don't, I mean, it'll be very rare, but you could do something in one go, I suppose. But you might get far into it and then be set back, right? The same thing happens in Clair Obscure, where it's like sometimes if there's 2 phases to a boss fight, I'll beat that first boss fight in one go, and I'll be like, cool, we did that. And then they'll be like, there's another part to this, and then I'll get wiped out, or something of the like will happen, right? I don't think it's wholly too difficult to learn the patterns of the boss fights. I think the main thing is learning exactly when to press buttons can be a bit finicky, because in this game, and I don't know if it's maybe just the latency between my controller and my computer, but it seems like the trick, like you want to start your parry almost like as soon as the enemy starts their main swing. And even then, like sometimes you need to wait like a little bit for the swing to get to you. And as I said in my last first impressions last week, the enemy movements are so slow at the beginning of the game, it doesn't really prepare you for the more quick attacks. I feel like they could have just had normal speed attacks at the beginning of the game. I think it would have warmed you up to the timing more easily. But they've kept up with these slow animations throughout the entire game so far, which has been a bit troubling for me, because usually when an enemy starts doing an attack like this, you go, okay, I'm ready to parry. But that downward swing sometimes is a little bit slower than you expect, or maybe they're doing multiple strikes and one is a little bit staggered. And it's like, okay, you got me. You got me. I was a bit impatient, or maybe I was spamming the button because I wasn't sure, and they punish you for that. So I think now that I've gotten through to Act 2 and I've been playing the game for quite some time now, I think I am getting acclimated to how the combat works. Even new enemies that I discover, I'm able to at least dodge their attacks without too much trouble. And they have been expanding the character list that you can use. It works a lot like the Third Age, where you'll be leveling up characters in your party, but also leveling up characters who are on your bench as well, getting new abilities, unlocking new skills, getting new enhancements for them, getting new outfits for them as well through various different means, and just meeting tons of characters along the way. The game is also a lot more funny. Like, it has more funny dialogue than I was expecting. The game starts off in a very dark place. You see everyone who's aged like 34 get taken away, or 33 get taken away, and they turn into like these rose petals. It's a very sad moment, very moving moment. And then later on in the prologue as well, you see your entire expedition team get wiped out, and it's a very like heavy scene. And then later on, Gustav is like, puts a gun up to his temple, and he's like, I'm ready to end this all because it's all been too much. It starts off in such a very heavy and dark spot. And for them to be able to intertwine some funny dialogue in there, especially when you get to meet like Esquire, it starts with the knee, Esquire, and Francois. Those two guys are a vibe, and I love them so much. Especially Francois. I thought that he was very funny. But the dialogue in the game has been very well written. The music in the game, beautiful. The animations in the game, fluid. The lighting effects in the game, not overbearing. The environments you walk through, very interesting. The open world that you kind of explore, a little bit basic in my opinion, but not a bad thing. Much like South of Midnight, it is a bit linear here and there, but there are branching paths that you can take that usually lead to dead ends, but they give you something good in the end. So I've been enjoying the game as a whole, and I think that if the game keeps up the variety of enemies, increasing the difficulty gradually, giving us new abilities and pictos for special things, special stats effects, I think that's great. I am using pretty much the same 3 characters for my team that you pretty much start off with. So I haven't done a lot of variation there because I like the three of them together. Um, and anytime I try to mix it up, I will struggle. So I think that I would love to use more characters in the game. Don't get me wrong, I would love to. But as of right now, I feel like the three that I'm using, which are the three that you originally start with, it's just like, yeah. I mean, it's you got a healer who can do status effects really easily. You have a guy who can boost your allies and do sword strikes and stuff like that. And then you have another character who is kind of like a tricksy kind of character who has different stances. One's offensive and defensive, and one does like 200% extra damage. And it's a good combination. It's just too good of a combination. And even though I really would like to try and use the lady who pulls out cards and does stuff with cards, I would love to try and use her effectively. And I have used her effectively when I first got her. But it's just like there's something about that base three characters of Gustav and Luna and Mal who just mesh so well together. And I think the creators knew that. They tried to, but that's the thing. The characters that you get in the game, like they did a great job at making them all different and unique. There's not two characters who are the same, which is great. I love that. So, yeah, I mean, I would definitely say even if turn-based combat is not your cup of tea, I think that Clair Obscure Expedition 33, if you give it enough of a chance, like make it past the prologue, go into the actual game, have multiple characters in your party, stuff like that, give it a bit of a chance, play a couple hours, really let the game kind of sink in and grab you. I think that there's a lot of people who find that, maybe this is a game that will click for them, and maybe not. Obviously, maybe not. Everyone's different in their gaming tastes. As you know, and as I've stated many times, I'm a person who likes to really spread my wings with gaming and try everything multiple times. So even though I'm not a huge JRPG fan, yes, of course, I've tried multiple JRPGs throughout the years. Some of them work for me, like the Final Fantasy 16, was it, that came out 2 years ago? Some of them won't work out for me, like the latest Like a Dragon game, which I still I haven't gotten back to in general, so I don't want to say it's completely out, but it's pretty close to being out. I think Clair Obscure Expedition 33 will be another game in a long list of games that are a different genre that I don't usually dip my toe into, that will maybe possibly make it onto a top 10 game list at the end of the year and or be a favorite game of mine at the end of the year. So we shall see. Other two games that I've been playing this past week, we played and beat Call of Duty 2. I don't have a lot to say because I think everyone knows what Call of Duty 2 is. World War II shooter, one of the first Call of Duty games, very well received when it came out. I still think that it's a great game. I finished up the veteran mode playthrough of the game, which was something that I was doing since high school, so it felt really good to finally finish that up and get the final achievement for that and 100% the game. The veteran mode is not too difficult. There are some areas with respawning enemies that are a bit annoying, and the game can be a bit annoying with how many grenades are thrown at you and how many enemies they throw at you. But in general, I think the campaign is great. I think the Soviet campaign and the North African campaigns are the best in there. And then the D-Day landing and the D-Day sequence is also very good in this game as well. The game starts to fall apart a bit for me after that because it really just becomes, whether you're playing as the British or the American soldiers at the end of the game, go house to house, clear out all the enemies, and just move on, or defend this area for a set amount of time. And the game got a bit stale in that sense, and especially when doing veteran mode, where you're going from house to house and you're dying multiple times and you're having to redo things, it starts to take its toll. Also, the final level in the game where you cross the Rhine and go into that town, it's a bit lackluster. Clearing the town is fine, it's fun, but it is more of the same. And then the final big set piece is take out these tanks, and you can do it literally in 5 seconds if you know the drill, which I did. You plant TNT on one of them, and then you run to the other one essentially, and do it real quickly, and they can't do anything because they're pre-programmed to go into specific regions of the map. But no, see, if you let the tanks do their thing and go around where they need to go, then it will be a fun adventure of hunting down the tanks and taking them out. But on veteran mode and on normal modes, you probably don't want to do that because it's a big hassle and there's a lot of enemies around. So if you just take them out real quickly, you're good to go. But yeah, in general, Call of Duty 2 still a great game, still really good first-person shooter. Not as good as some of the other Call of Duty campaigns and some of the other Call of Duty games, but still a classic, classic as you may get with the series. I gave it a B tier, 3.5 out of 5. Enjoyed the veteran mode. Thought it was pretty fun to play through. A little bit annoying, but still pretty fun. Kind of like Expedition 33. Gets a little bit annoying here and there, frustrating here and there, but the whole package is good. The other thing that I've been playing, quote unquote, is called Lurk Bait. This is a game that is designed for Twitch chat. And the idea is that people who normally lurk in your streams, or maybe they do chat in your streams, can type in a command in the chat, and on the screen a little pop-up will appear, and it'll cast a reel and grab something from the pond that you're fishing in. So you can get fish, you can get legendary fish, you can get trash and junk. All that stuff just kind of adds to their points, and then they can compete on leaderboards to try and get the best score. I think that out of all of the idle games that I have put up on the stream, this is one of my favorites because it is very interactable. It's not on the screen 24/7, and I think that it really gets people, interested in it. Like, if someone's just there to fish, I mean, at least you're getting a little bit of extra interaction there when they do type in the command for fishing. And vice versa, if someone's there a lot and they like chatting a lot, they can have something to do also while they're watching the stream. They can try and fish for things. There's really no downside to this. It is set up really easily. There was really no hassle in setting it up. The only thing that's a little bit weird is like trying to figure out some of the more advanced options in the game, because it's a very long list. You have to scroll through like pages and pages and pages of settings to finally find what you need. But other than that, it was pretty user-friendly. It's set up really quickly, and I think people are really enjoying it. Compared to Ropuka's Idle Island and also to Rusty's Retirement, I think that it's a great little idle game for your chat. Rusty's Retirement is also a good one as well. Lots of interactivity there. And also, but that's the other thing too. It's like it's always on your screen, taking up screen space. And I know for Twitch streams, that space, the space around you is pretty limited already, especially if you have, like, let's say you have an image of your controller that you're using, or let's say you have a PNG tuber or a VTuber on your screen, or maybe you have a logo on your screen that you for branding, or obviously if you have a camera on your screen, it takes up space. So having the Lurk Bait there that only pops up when it's being used and goes away, I think that's a very nice, and I think it's a genius thing to do. It allows it to not fully interrupt your screen or take up screen time. The reason why it's better than Ropuka, obviously, it's because the game is very interactable. People actually do things in the game rather than it just being there and being fun to look at. I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but I did 100% Ropuka's Idle Adventure or Island. It was a very long grind, a bit annoying. And that it didn't last nearly as long as Rusty's Retirement. But I think Lurk Bait might be here to stay. This might be one that's here to stay. If I see a decrease in activity with it, I'll probably think about changing that out to something else. But I think Lurk Bait, I think most people are gonna really enjoy it. People also need to remember that it's there. So putting a reminder in chat every so often is also a good idea. Putting like a little like timer that pops up and says, "Hey, you can fish," pressing !fish. So if you want to fish, come to my stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays, and type !fish, and you'll catch something. Not COVID. You'll catch some fish and or junk. I think I caught a Pokemon pack one time, which was kind of funny. And there's also like you can catch like rubber duckies and stuff like that too. It's fun. It's nothing special, but it's fun. That's what I gotta say about that. It's nothing like super crazy, but it's fun, especially fun for your chat. And that'll do it for today, folks. Let's go ahead and move on to What's That Song? If you know the song's name and the game that it came from, let me know in the comments below. I'll give you a heart and a congratulations. Or on Spotify, you can leave a comment and I will also leave a heart there. Or you can head over to the Discord and type the song name and the game that came from in the Fair64 chat, and I will give you a super reaction, and you will get the admiration of your peers. let's go ahead and listen to today's song right now. Just as a reminder, the song is usually, if not always, from a game or something that we talked about during the podcast. So if you're ever wondering where this song's from, probably going to be a main topic kind of game. Sometimes not, but usually a main topic kind of game. All right. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. Really do appreciate that. If you want to check me out, I stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays on Twitch. We're playing through the first Berserker Kazan. We are almost to the final part of the game. Crazy enough, it's been taking us a little while. But we are almost to the final pillar in the game, which is pretty exciting. But we need to get past a few more, maybe another area on the third pillar, which has been a bit more difficult. So we are getting through that. We are also playing the Star Wars The Force Unleashed on the Xbox 360. It's been a bit of a janky time, but we'll probably be able to finish it in another stream, maybe 2 streams if I'm unlucky. So if I tune in for that stuff, that's what we're doing this coming week here. After this week, I'll probably be going towards more so playing Kazan every stream, simply because I do want to get through that game in time for summer, which, drumroll please. No, I'm not revealing what we're doing in summer just yet. Hang out in the Discord, link down in the description below for any details on our summer event. It's going to be a fun one. I can maybe kind of guarantee it. Also, if you want to check out the latest episode of Film Freaks with a Z at the end, my movie podcast that I do with a couple of friends, we talked about the movie RRR from 2022. A very fun conversation there. Also, monthly episodes of Fubar Ferret are now in full swing. The latest one just released this past week. If you want to check that out, there will be a new one every month. So if you want to check that out, I would very much appreciate that. Give that podcast a bit more love. It used to be one of the people's favorite podcasts, but now, after I've been gone for 2 years, we need to rebuild that trust, rebuild that viewership. So if you want to check that out, I would very appreciate that. It's only on Spotify, so remember that, Fubar Ferret. All right, folks. Thank you so much once again. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and this has been another episode of Ferret 64, the video game podcast. I'll talk at you next week. So long.
The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Small sound clips used throughout the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The song in the intro and outro is Nightshade by Adhesive Wombat. The Ferret 64 logo was made by Player2P2. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions, video game related, are my own. Thank you for listening.